Greetings, metalheads, and welcome to another edition of Friday 13th YouTube channel. Hope you're well. I'm doing good. First of all, I'd like to thank everybody who has subscribed. If you haven't, please do. It's free. Give a thumbs up. Please comment if you can. Thank you. So, you're about to listen to an audio interview, which was done with Paul Gilbert from the band Breakups. This was done in 2002, when the band had just released Technical Difficulties, which is a fantastic album. So, like I said, this is an audio interview. Please enjoy. Have a listen, share on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, any social media you can. So enjoy, stay safe, stay metal, and please spread the word about Friday 13th YouTube channel. Thanks, metalheads. Be safe.
Have you heard of my fanzine before?
I'm not sure if I have. What country is it from?
It's from England. It's been around since 1988.
Oh man.
Started in 1988. First band I interviewed was Crimson Glory. It was one of the first bands I interviewed.
Yeah, cool.
So it's just a shame I never got Resurrex in the first few issues. But hey, I'm here now.
All right.
Just like to congratulate you on an amazing album, man. It's my favourite album this year.
Well, thank you.
I fucking love it, man.
That's great.
Especially the song "Waiting."
Well, you like Waiting?
Oh, it's amazing, man.
Cool.
It's one of the best ballads I've heard since Vicious Rumours did. Song of Welcome to the Ball.
Yeah. That was a cool song because Jeff actually wrote it on bass, and Jeff is a great drummer and a great singer, but he can barely play bass or guitar, and he's actually, because he has no technique on those instruments, the stuff he comes up with is actually pretty inventive. He wrote a bunch of the riffs in 17th Moon too, and it's just a lot of sometimes the way he plays it wouldn't be the way somebody who's a real practiced guitar player would play it, but I almost like it better. It's more of a twist on it, more of an interesting way of doing it than I wouldn't have thought of otherwise.
Yeah, I nearly met Jeff last year at Dynamo Festival 2 years ago. He was playing for Black Symphony.
Oh yeah.
And the guitarist told me that the drummer used to be in Resurrex. I was like, holy shit, where is he? I wanted to meet him, but I wouldn't have recognised him anyway without his hair.
Yeah.
So, alright Paul, the first question is, I'd like to congratulate you for reforming. Could you tell me when Resurrex formed the first time around? How did you all meet?
In the early days, it was, I'd moved to LA in 1984 to go to GIT, a guitar school. And at the same time, I'd been sending tapes to Mike Varney, who's a sort of guitar record producer guy in California. And when I finally moved to California, he said, well, man, if you can put a band together, I'll do a record with you. And so to me, that was about as exciting as anything, to actually have a record deal, whether it was indie or not. And so I just tried to put a band together, and Racer X ended up being the band. I found John Alderetti and the original drummer, this guy named Harry Chaucer.
Yeah, off the Street Leaf album.
Yeah, they both were going to the same music school I was. And then Jeff I actually found through Mike Varney, because Jeff was in a band called Surgical Steel out of Phoenix.
What were they like? Did you?
Surgical Steel was they were kind of Judas Priest sounding.
Best band in the world.
Yeah, and a lot of different singers. I just really thought Jeff, I just thought he was great in every way. I liked his vocal tone, I liked his vibrato. He wrote cool stuff. So he was definitely the guy.
Did he actually record any albums, Jeff?
I'm sorry?
Did he actually record any albums prior to joining Racer X?
With Surgical Steel? He made... I don't think they did any records. They did... They actually appeared in a movie. I think it was called Thunder Alley. And they played a couple songs in that. And then I think Jeff did a couple songs where he was the drummer on some of the old Mike Varney instrumental stuff.
Right.
But no, Surgical Steel never. Unless you're around Phoenix and know somebody and can get an old demo or something, it's probably pretty hard to find.
Right. Okay. Next question, Paul, is of your past albums that Resurrex have recorded, which is your favourite album and why?
Oh man, the one we just did, I really like a lot, yeah. And actually the first two. The live albums are probably the ones I listen to the least.
Right. Why is that?
I think, that's just the way live albums in general are for me. Of like the Mr. Big stuff and of my solo stuff, I always tend to listen to the studio ones more. I should figure that out. I'm not sure. I think it's usually because the live things, I've been on a tour or something and played it so much that way, so I was tired of hearing it. Where the studio albums just have a little more something unique to me. I mean, as it's more of something that I had less experience with.
I'd say that Second Heat is my favourite album, and my favourite song is Sunlit Nights.
Oh yeah, it's a cool one.
Yeah, I noticed there was a Judas Priest song on that album that never made it from Judas Priest, Heart of a Lion.
Yeah, that was a cool one too.
I remember hearing a tape of you from Japanese radio. Somebody sent me from Japan. An interview you did a long time ago, and it said that you used the Judas Priest song. And I didn't really realise until I heard it, and then I realised that it did sound like Judas Priest. So I can imagine them doing it first.
I think they were they had written it for the Defenders of the Faith record, and for whatever reason, they didn't use it. But we definitely the demo that we learned it from was real sparse. They hadn't really spent much time doing much production to it. We did a bit more with it, but it was a cool tune.
How did you get hold of that song? How did you get permission off the band?
Well, a couple of I don't know what happened. Well, anyway, because actually Surgical Steel was a very popular band in Phoenix at the time, so.
Do you have anything you could send me on that, Paul?
I'm sorry, what's that?
Do you have anything on Surgical Steel you could send me? I'd like to check out.
Oh, my goodness. I don't think I have any tapes. Jeff might.
Right,
in fact,
I actually emailed him after the new album, but he never got back to me, so.
He doesn't have a computer.
All right. Who answers his mail?
I got him. I hooked him up with emails, so he was like answering him when he was down here recording, but he's still got to get a computer, so he's got a million emails waiting for him. I know. So he will get to it eventually. I think
right.
He plans on getting one in the next couple months.
Okay, so how did you get the song then? We was talking about the song. How did it come around?
Well, I think Jeff had heard all the demos for the album, and when he found out that they weren't going to use that song, he just he brought a tape to all us Racer X guys and just said, "You guys want to do this?" We heard it. We thought it was great, so we did it.
Do you think Judas Priest should have used it, or are you glad that you used it instead?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Do you think that Judas Priest should have used that song, or are you glad that you used it instead?
Oh, I'm glad we did. I'm sure Judas Priest would have done a great job with it too. But I know that there's actually, as a songwriter myself, there's occasionally I'll write something for, that someone else will use, and I won't use it because, it's already been recorded by someone else. And it's, but it's cool to hear somebody else do your tune.
Yeah.
And it's always interesting to see, how someone else will approach the same song.
Just before we get on to the next question, what would your reaction be if there was a Racer X tribute album? What would your reaction be?
I'd be very curious to hear it, because the stuff we do is, not easy to play.
Correct, yeah.
And hence the title, Technical Difficulties.
Yeah.
So it was actually I heard a compilation CD. I think Black Symphony had a song on it, and there was a bunch of other bands, and the one of the bands had a song that they wrote, but it sounded exactly like Street Lethal.
Right.
The old Racer X song, and it was really funny. It was so similar to it. So I guess that was close, but it'd be great if anyone would dare.
Yeah, just before we get the next question, I met a guy in Germany last year who was singing for a band called Brainstorm, and he gave me a copy of his demo CD, and it had a photo of him and you on stage together. His name's called Dirk, and he covered a Racer X song with vocals overdubbed over the music. There was some concert you played with.
Oh yeah,
remember that?
Yeah, I did a clinic, and he came up on stage, and I wanted guitar players to come and jam with me, and he at the last minute refused to play guitar and just sang instead.
Right, because he gave me his demo CD and it's got a Racer X on, but he's singing different vocals over it. Have you heard it?
I think I did. Yeah, he sounds good.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if you haven't heard it, I can copy it for you and send you it.
Yeah, I think I've got one here somewhere.
Right,
my CDs are pretty unorganized, but someday I'll find it again.
All right then, Paul. My next question is: why did Racer X split up the first time around?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Why did Racer X split up the first time around?
Oh, I think obviously I left to join Mr. Big. And I think they got another guitar player for a while and messed around with some different singers, but I think after the members changed, it just wasn't the same.
Right.
And
so who went first? Was it yourself or was it Scott who left the band first?
It was actually me first.
Wasn't you happy playing like power metal anymore?
Oh, so let me switch gears.
Did you get
one more time?
playing power metal, or was that it? Was it the end of wanted you to play something different?
A little of both. I mean, I was, there were some different things I wanted to try musically, but I think a lot of it had to do with us just being frustrated because we had so much success locally in LA, and we were the biggest drawing club band, and we were just like the biggest small band in LA,
right?
And all the big labels didn't want to sign us, and we just we couldn't understand it, and it just the business part of it was really frustrating for us.
Okay, my next question is, after the band broke up, you went on to form Mr. Big, which gave you a lot of success. Why did Mr. Big break up?
Well, actually, they're still together. I just left the band, I guess about 3 years ago. We decided to take kind of a break. We had been working so hard, we were all driving each other nuts. So we all did some solo albums, and then after a couple of years, the guys wanted to get back together. And for me, it was a very easy decision not to. I was just having such a better time doing my own stuff, and also just having the freedom to do things like a Racer X album if I wanted to.
Because to me, it seemed like Mr. Big was Paul Gilbert's band. obviously it wasn't. It was a joint thing with somebody else. Is that correct?
Well, definitely. And that's the way a band should be.
Right. So it's actually Mr. Big now then? Is it still Billy Sheen and Eric Martin?
It's all the same members except on guitar is Richie Kotzen.
Right, he's the guy who did a solo with Shrapnel, went to Poison, if I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same guy. Okay, then my next question is, again, you went on to go into your solo career. Was that a success for you? And who are your guitar heroes?
It was definitely a success, especially in Japan. I mean, I've had both with Mr. Big and my own stuff. Japan has been an amazing place to be a musician.
I think it's the capital for heavy metal, isn't it, Japan?
I'm sorry, what's that?
The biggest market in the world, isn't it? Japan for heavy metal.
Yeah, it seems like it. I don't know why, but if I could explain it, I would try to do it everywhere else. And I still try to do it everywhere else, but it's just, for some reason, that's where it really seems to take off.
Right. So who are your guitar heroes then, besides?
Oh, man. Well, first of all, probably Jimmy Page.
Right.
That was, the first, Led Zeppelin was the first band that really made me want to focus on guitar.
Never liked Led Zeppelin.
I'm sorry, you never liked them?
No, I never have.
Huh.
No, I just grew up with bands like Tagza, Pantang, Blackfoot, Judas Priest, Thin Lizzy, Saxon.
I'm probably, maybe I'm older than you.
Well, I'm 30.
Yeah, I'm 33, and
right.
and also well, I guess at that time I wasn't, it was before I'd heard any of those bands, because I was, into those same bands as well.
Right.
But at the time, just listening to American radio, you certainly wouldn't hear Saxon on the radio.
Oh yeah.
So the heaviest thing that was on would be, occasionally you'd hear like some Aerosmith, or Led Zeppelin doing Misty Mountain Hop or something like that, and so that was the first time I was exposed to the heavier rock. And even music like Black Sabbath, I didn't hear on the radio. My guitar teacher was turning me onto that stuff.
Right.
So.
Who was your guitar teacher? Does he actually still teach, or?
Oh, who knows? He. I don't think he was much of a player. It was just that I was really a beginner, so he showed me some basic stuff, and I don't know if I'd really credit him with influencing my style that much.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Paul. Sorry, yeah.
Oh, and I was going to say, after that, Eddie Van Halen was a huge influence. Gary Moore, Michael Schenker, Yngwie Malmsteen, Randy Rhoads, a jillion guys.
Yeah, right. Okay, my next question is, Jeff Martin went on to play drums for Badlands and also Black Symphony. What do you think of his drumming, or do you prefer his singing more than his drumming abilities?
Well, I love both things. Actually, I just finished a new solo album, and Jeff's played all the drums on it. Mm-hmm. Actually, I have to say that Jeff Martin and Scott Travis are two of my favorite drummers, but they're both totally different from each other.
So do they fight in the studio when they're together? See who's the best drummer?
Well, they're both, to me, they're both the best. They're just really different styles.
Yeah.
And I love both styles. I mean, that's why I like playing with both of them. Because to me, Scott Travis is, the best heavy metal drummer there is, and I just love the stuff he comes up with. And whereas as Scott is, if I would think of like, an era that where he would fit in, it would be that kind of, 1982 era of metal, but of course he did his own stuff with it.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeff to me is more, late 60s, early 70s. He's more Ian Pace, John Bonham, Mitch Mitchell kind of guy. And I love that style too. So it's really cool, to sort of make sure that my solo albums and the Racer X albums have a different sound. I really like to use, those two different guys playing drums.
Good. So what do you think of Black Symphony and Badlands then? What did you think of them?
Well, Badlands was definitely really cool. The, Ray Gillen was an amazing singer.
Is he dead now, Ray Gillen?
Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah, I thought he had.
Really too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dug Badlands. I thought they were a good band.
Mm-hmm.
And Black Symphony I haven't listened to that much. The stuff I heard sounded pretty good, but actually, even though I play a lot of heavy metal, I haven't really. My favorite heavy metal is still the stuff from 1979 to 1984.
Right.
And there hasn't been that much post 1984 that's really interested me.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay then, Paul. My next question is: Scott went on to join Judas Priest. Were you happy for him?
Oh, absolutely. I thought it was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really cool because after Racer X broke up, everyone was really having some cool success. I mean, Scott joined Judas Priest, Jeff joined Badlands, the other guys had a band called The Scream
Yeah,
that was
going to
doing
ask you
well.
that next question.
Yeah. So, it was really nice that nobody ended up in the gutter, nobody ended up homeless.
Mm-hmm. Now, my next question is about John joining The Scream. What did you think of them?
I really liked the first album. Actually, I don't know if any of their other stuff was released. They did a couple other things, but
if I remember right, the first Scream album had like a snake on the cover. It was a black cover. That was a skull, should I say? Is that correct?
Yeah. There's a song on there called "I Don't Care." I thought was really cool.
Right.
And actually, I mean, I thought John Corabi sounded great in that band. I actually liked it when he joined the crew as well. Although it wasn't a commercial success, I thought it was a cool record.
Right, cool. Okay, my next question is, what about the second guitarist in Racer X, Bruce? What did he do? Because we don't even hear from him anymore.
Yeah, he has a recording studio in L.A., and he's a great engineer and producer. And actually, when I did my first solo album, King of Clubs, I had him, engineer and co-produce it. And we ended up doing like a 20-minute long guitar trade-off battle jam at the end. Sort of a reunion between us as guitarists, which was really cool. Right. And then my next solo album, Flying Dog, had Bruce playing guitar on it, on the whole thing, along with me. And then for the Racer X one, I was actually, I would just assumed that he would do it. And when I talked to him, he said he didn't want to and actually couldn't because he said his hands were giving him problems.
Yeah, I noticed a lot of people have had problems like Jeff Thorpe from Vicious Rumours. He had the same thing.
Yeah, and I think Bruce can definitely still play. He said he just really didn't want to risk playing that style because it's a very strenuous style of guitar playing. And I think Racer X was one of his favorite bands, and he was just sending me his sort of his rant about how he wanted us to get back together and how I should play heavy metal again. And it was a really funny letter, and I'd shown it to all my friends. And then I thought, man, it wouldn't be hilarious, now that we're doing a new album, sort of making this kid's dream come true. If we actually named a song after him or titled the album, he'd probably freak out.
They probably want royalties.
Yeah, and so we did actually name a song after him, but I think the band thought it was going a little too far to do the album after him. So I think Technical Difficulties is pretty cool. I mean, it's obviously a pun. Most of the time when you hear Technical Difficulties, it means that something's wrong with your TV or your equipment is broken. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, the music we play is very technically difficult. So there's the play on words.
Right. Okay. So can you explain the cover concept?
Yeah, we just wanted to take things that would definitely be immediately lead to technical difficulties. If you stick a hairdryer in the water, you're going to have some technical difficulties. For instance, you're going to get electrocuted and die.
Yeah, I've noticed on the sleeve it says, "Don't try this at home."
Yeah.
Have you had anybody trying it yet and trying to sue the band for trying?
I don't think they would sue us because they'd be dead.
Or the families, You ever thought of get any problems from like kids like Judas Priest did with the gunshots of them 2 kids and shit?
Oh, I don't think so. Actually, it was funny on the Mr. Big album, "Lean Into It."
Yeah.
That was recorded right around that time of that Judas Priest trial. And actually, at the very beginning of the album, I recorded myself talking into a microphone, and we put it in backwards. And if you play it backwards, I'm saying, "Don't sue us."
Instead of do it.
Do not sue us, please.
Oh God. Okay, my next question is congratulations on the fine album, like I said before. Could you talk me through the songs? What are they about? And why did you do a Black Sabbath cover? Don't you feel like there's been too many bands doing covers of Sabbath?
Well, actually, the Sabbath cover was really an afterthought. We had already finished the record, and my managers called me up, and they said that they were putting together a Black Sabbath tribute album, and they wanted to see if we wanted to do a song for it. And so, before we tore the equipment down, we recorded "Children of the Grave," and I just really liked the way it turned out. I mean, to me, although it's a Sabbath tune, I tried to do it more in the style of Randy Rhoads when he was with Ozzy, because I saw him play that song with Ozzy when I was a kid, and it blew me away. And I just liked the version so much that I called up my managers and I said, "I know this is going to go on the tribute album, but would it be okay if we put it on the Racer X one too? I think it rocks." And so it was just, a last-minute thing of me going, "Man, it sounds great. Let's stick it on there."
Right, because there's so many Black Sabbath tribute albums. When's this album coming out, this tribute? Is it already being released?
Actually, I don't know much about it. I don't know when it's coming out, so
I'm really surprised.
I'm no help to you there. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm really surprised you didn't do anything like an Accept cover or Judas Priest.
Oh, that'd be awesome doing an Accept one. Although, I mean, usually, the cool thing is to take it. A lot of times, to take a song that's really different stylistically. I mean, like when Judas Priest did "Diamonds and Rust," the Joan Baez song.
Yeah. Right. So, could you talk me through a little bit through some of the songs that you?
Yeah. Well, the first one, the short instrumental called "Phallic Tractor," which was the title Scott Travis came up with, and we really thought it was funny because it's so, it's kind of Spinal Tap heavy metal.
Have you ever seen Bad News?
I've seen little bits of it, but the copy of my video is so bad that I couldn't watch very much of it.
Have you got an English video player? Because I can copy it for you and send you a copy.
Oh, I don't have PAL or whatever it is.
Right, so I could have copied it for you.
Yeah, I'll play. I have to order it because I heard it's hilarious.
All right, it's funny. Okay, you got Fire of Rock.
Yeah, that was actually a tune we had written back in the '80s, and it was one of my favorite songs, from the old days that we never recorded. And to me, one of the big things I was thinking when we were first deciding whether to record a new record was I just thought, man, I gotta get a good version of Fire of Rock on tape, before I die. That's, I just really wanted to record that song because I had such good memories of playing it live.
And the next song, Snakebite, which you told me about, an Australian guy.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
My response to him.
Right, technical difficulties.
That was actually an instrumental that I'd been messing around with for a couple of years, and when Scott Travis came out, we added a bunch of parts to it, and just tried to make it a good, scary Racer X style instrumental.
Next song is Miss Mistreated.
That one actually is one of Bruce's old songs, and I thought, even if he couldn't play on the record, it'd be cool to use some tunes that he had written just to have still have his influence on there.
Okay, Bolt in My Heart.
That one was a pretty cool thing because I had all the music written, and I couldn't think of any cool melodies or lyrics for it. And I gave the tape to Jeff, and he immediately came up with all kinds of great stuff. So it's a good example of Jeff getting me out of a rut.
17th Moon, that's a great song.
Thank you. That was another amazing Jeff Martin production where, Scott and I had come up with a very short little riff, and Jeff turned it into this big, a whole song. And that's an intense one. I like it.
Wait, and is that a love song?
I think Jeff could probably explain the lyrics better, but I think it's a sort of a fictional 17th moon of Jupiter coming out of its orbit and hurtling towards Earth, and threatening to smash the place up a bit.
Right, because the intro, the guitar solo is amazing. I fucking love it, man.
Thank you.
It's just like just comes in. It's just there's so much feeling in that song. It's like the most played song on the CD for me.
Wow.
I mean, I love every song on the album, but that song it just gets played and played and played.
Yeah, that's a cool one. I tried to really get kind of a John Sykes type guitar tone for the solos.
Did you know that Thin Lizzy are playing the Wacken Festival in Germany?
I'm sorry, say it again?
Thin Lizzy are playing the Wacken Festival in Germany. You know.
Wow.
John Sykes is singing.
That's awesome.
Get yourself there, man.
I should do it.
Yeah. What about Poison Eyes?
That was one that we actually had appear on one of the Racer X live albums, and it was one of my favorite Racer X songs. So I really wanted to get a good, solid studio version of it that people could hear.
Which one was it on? Volume 1 or 2?
I think that's on. I'm not sure. I think it's on 2.
Okay. The next song is, I presume it's an instrumental BRO.
Yeah. That, on the first Racer X album, Street Lethal, there was an instrumental called YRO.
Right.
And the story behind that was, I always have a hard time naming instrumental songs because there's no like line that's being sung in the chorus that you can use as the title. And I couldn't think of a title for what became YRO, and so Mike Varney, the record producer, said, well, if you can't think of anything, I'm going to call it YRO. And I said, well, what's that? And he goes, Yngwie Ripoff.
Wow.
And so, obviously I still wasn't able to think of anything because YRO, it became. And so BRO actually stands for Bach Ripoff because it's just a Bach piece that I played on electric guitar.
Right. Next song is God of the Sun, another good song.
Oh, yeah. That was one that Jeff wrote with our friend Russ Parrish. Right after Racer X broke up, Jeff formed a band with Russ.
And that rings a bell. Who was he?
Russ actually was one of the guitar players that played on the first Fight record with Rob Halford.
Right, yeah, that's it, yeah.
And
I met Fight when they played in England. And the name rang a bell, what you just said then, yeah.
Yeah, he's an awesome guitar player. And him and Jeff were in a band for a while, and that's when they wrote that song. And it was another one that we both thought was really cool that really deserved to be heard.
Did they actually record any albums then, Jeff?
They did some demos, but they never actually released anything.
Really? Okay, next song is Give It To Me.
That's, again, another one that we had a live version of, but I really felt deserved a good studio version.
Executioner's song.
That was one of the ones that, one of the new ones we wrote.
Yeah.
Where Scott and I had finished all the music, and Jeff, came up with some cool lyrics for it. And of course, we have a pretty morbid sound effect at the end there.
Right. So, would you say that most of these songs on this album are quite old then?
I'd say it's about it's probably divided in thirds. We've got like about a third new stuff, a third old stuff, and a third kind of in the middle stuff.
Okay, so the next question would be, are the songs wrote as a team effort?
Yeah, definitely. That was really important to me to do because I really liked the drum parts that Scott Travis comes up with, and I really like Jeff's vocal parts a lot. So I really did want to write it as a band.
Right. So what sort of drum kit did Scott use? Did he use his 6-piece that he uses with Judas Priest, or did he have more drums for the Racer X album?
I'm trying to remember how many. I think
two toms and 2 bass drums and 2
yeah,
four toms.
2 racks, 2 4s, and,
yeah,
and 2
the same
bass
as Judas Priest then.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Next question is: are you happy with the end results?
Oh yeah, it was really cool. Right after I had finished, we'd finished mixing the record. I took it down to I was doing an autograph signing appearance at this music store here where I live in Las Vegas.
Right.
And it was a big event with a lot of other people too. So they weren't just there to see me. There was a big just crowd of people there to do other stuff.
Right.
And when I went up to sign stuff, I stuck the CD in over the PA. And a lot of people, had never even, like young kids had never heard of me or Racer X, and they were just freaking out, going, "Man, what is this? I've never heard anything like it."
I mean, I'm glad I grew up when I was born in 1970 because I grew up with all the good bands like Racer X, Judas Priest, and the kids of today don't know what they've missed.
I know.
Like,
at least it's still out there if they look for it.
It's like, who needs them?
Yeah.
So would you say it's typical Racer X style in the new album?
Yeah, I really didn't want to change the style. I wanted to do it, in a style that we all, liked back then and still like now. We definitely didn't want to add, try to make it 90s sound with any industrial stuff. We just wanted to, do the classic heavy metal style, do it right.
Right. Did you think that a lot of people might be scared in case you jumped on the bandwagon of like traditional bands going like more industrial? Was that ever into your mind?
Well, I mean, I didn't really even think of what people would think. I just, knew that if we did a record, that would be the only way to do it. That's what we were all into. It was an obvious decision.
Because I was thinking, when I heard that you reformed, I thought, oh my God, please let them be 80s style. Don't jump on the bandwagon. There's so many good bands that have done that and they've just ruined the career.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have reformed. You know what I mean? Okay, my next question is, what are your favourite tracks on the album and why?
Oh, let's see. Well, definitely just the first four. I mean, the Phallic Tractor, Fire of Rock, Snakebite, and Technical Difficulties. That set right there is frightening.
Yeah.
Actually, the little guitar solo thing, BRO, I really like a lot. The tone I got on that is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
One of the best guitar tones I've ever gotten.
Yeah.
I think. Go ahead.
No, sorry, man. Carry on.
Oh, and I really like God of the Sun. I think that's as far as just a really well produced sounding track. I think that all the sounds and the mix on that song are amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, the very last one, the Black Sabbath tune, Children of the Grave, I think just rocks really, really hard.
So how many guitars do you own then, Paul?
Too many. I haven't counted in a while. It's 90 or 100, somewhere around there.
Shit. Do you still keep the ones from the Racer X days?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. You haven't auctioned any of them off to like charities or anything?
No, not those. I mean, I do try to get rid of guitars once in a while if they're ones I don't use or play and they're just sitting around. But the Racer X ones, I got to hold on to those.
So what guitars do you play now? Is it Ibanez or?
Yeah.
Because you started off with BC Rich. Because I was listening to Street Lethal today, and I noticed you was playing BC Rich.
Yeah. Actually, the BC Rich was only on the cover because I had just gotten an endorsement with them at the time.
Right.
But I think the early Racer X albums are sort of a bunch of weird guitars. I had a custom Wayne Charvel one. I had a Squier Strat that I borrowed from a friend of mine. I had an old Epiphone Olympic. And then on the live albums, it's all Ibanez stuff because at that time I'd finally hooked up with them.
Right, okay. So do you think that Racer X would ever be back in the millennium? Do you think you'd ever come back in the millennium after 10 years of being...
Oh, did I think?
Yeah, did you ever think that Racer X would be back 10 years later?
I don't know. I mean, with Mr. Big, I really was focused on that and tried not to think of any other projects. But... again, once I was sort of free of that, obviously the idea sounded good to me because we did it. And I definitely, I definitely see more albums happening. I mean, it's really cool to have a vehicle where I can, sort of get my, where I can really, be a heavy metal guitar player and have that opportunity to play like that. It's awesome.
Okay then, Paul. Next question is, how did the deal with Mascot Records come about, and are you happy with them?
Yeah, they seem to be doing great. They're setting up tons of interviews for me, and I think they might even be working out some tour ideas eventually. As to how I hooked up with them, I'm not really sure. Actually, that's what my managers do. So they just called me up and said, "We got a deal. It's a good one. So let's do it." Right.
So what label are you signed to in the States and Japan?
In Japan, it's Mercury, and in the States, it's Shrapnel.
Oh, right, because it doesn't say on the copy I've got licensed by Shrapnel. It just says licensed by Batgirl Records, whoever they are.
Yeah, well, that's because I license to each different country. So actually, when I do records, I just produce them myself and pay for them myself, and then just sell them to different territories.
Well, how was things in America like with you and Shrapnel? How comfortable do you feel going back to Shrapnel? Do you think they were going to be the best label for you after 10 years?
I think they're pretty cool because Mike, definitely has a great following of guitar players. So the people who will be into the band, are familiar with his stuff. And I think Mike really knows how to market that stuff, and he digs it. I mean, Mike, I think really was excited about having another Racer X album because he had all the earlier ones.
Mm-hmm. What do you think to up and coming guitar players on Shrapnel like James Murphy and people like that?
Oh, I actually haven't even heard them. I should call up Mike and have him send me some of that stuff so I can check it out.
Yeah, I mean, one of my favourite bands on Shrapnel Records in the 80s besides Racer X was Apocrypha.
Yeah.
That guy sounded like Rob Alford so much. I mean, whatever happened to those guys? I mean, they should reform next.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Actually, I think Tony Fredinelli, was he in that band?
Yeah, he was. He did a solo on Breakneck Speed, they call it.
Yeah, and I think now he's actually in Third Eye Blind.
Never heard of them.
Yeah, they're sort of a big pop band.
Oh my god. Oh no. What is he doing? Shoot him, please. Alright, Paul, next question is, are you doing a promo video for this album, and if so, which song?
We haven't yet. I think at this point the next thing we'll concentrate on is doing another album. Although if we do any live dates, maybe we'll video those.
Right, okay. Next question is, I hear that Racer X may be touring. Is this true? And are you playing any festivals, and are you coming to the UK?
We're just in the beginning of planning that now. We're sort of figuring out what what my schedule's like this summer, because I just finished a new solo album, so I'm going to be touring with that.
Right.
And we might try to squeeze some Racer X dates, in between, before or after that, because it'd be a blast to play.
What about Scott with him being Jules Priest? Because he emailed me and he said he was in England now recording the new Priest album.
Yeah.
Is that going to be hard for him?
I think he just finished with that, so I think he's actually got some time.
Right. So, because I heard you might be playing in England, and I said to the record company, I've got to go meet Paul Gilbert and the rest of the guys and have a beer with them. Like,
cool.
I live in the north of England. If you're playing just one show in London, I'm prepared just to go all that way just to see you guys.
Oh, that's awesome.
Like, I love Racer X's music.
Well, I hope it happens.
So are you playing any festivals, like Wacken Festival? Because that is like the only true metal festival in Europe.
Yeah. Nothing planned at the moment, but it'd be great if we could hook it up.
Well, Wacken's in August. It's the 4th and 5th of August.
Yeah.
Then Lizzie's playing Venom.
Wow.
So a bunch of cool bands playing. Lizzie Borden.
Oh man.
It's like the reunion festival. I went last year, man, and there was so many bands playing, like Leatherwolf, and it just took me back to my youth.
That's amazing.
It was just like so cool, man. So what future plans do you have for Paul Gilbert?
Oh well, I'm in a really good spot now where I've got, Racer X to play with, and also my solo stuff, which and both things are pretty different from each other, but they both kind of satisfy all the things that all my favorite musical styles. Mm-hmm. So I've sort of got all the bases covered, and I just plan on continuing both those things. It definitely keeps me busy. I mean, the last couple of years I've been cranking out like 2 records a year, so it's there's no lack of work.
Because I've got one of your live albums, Beehive Live, I think it is.
Yeah.
Is that recorded in Japan?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what's your new album like then? Because I haven't really heard any of your solo stuff.
Yeah, the new one I just finished is called Alligator Farm, and it's actually it was influenced a bit by doing the new Racer X album. I couldn't help but make it a bit heavier than my previous stuff, and it's just, to describe it, it's very me. It's definitely my style of writing, playing, and producing. It's got some of my pop influences, some Cheap Trick, Beatles, Wild Hearts kind of sounds, but at the same time it's filled with crazy guitar and some a few wild experiments.
So are you actually singing on this album, or do you have who's actually in the album?
Yeah, all my solo stuff I suddenly transform into the lead singer.
Right, and you got Jeff on drums.
Yeah.
Who's playing bass? Is it yourself or?
Actually, on this one I had the same guy who played on the Beehive Live record, Mike Zuder.
Right. Because I know Yngwie plays bass on his studio album, so I wondered if you did the same.
Yeah, well, I could, but the last couple of studio albums I've done, I've actually recorded them live in the studio, where I'll put together a band and have 2 other guitar players so they can play the parts that I would normally overdub, but instead have it be live, because it really, to me, the whole feel of it is more exciting when I can do it that way.
Okay, Paul, I'd like to wish you all the best for the career and the sales of Racer X. Hope to see you sometime on tour. Do you have anything to say to the fans and readers before we finish?
Oh, well, I've been releasing so much stuff lately, and I hope I don't clog the pipes with so many CDs in one year. But I think now that I've finally got my record deals rolling in Europe, I'll be able to get the stuff out at the same time it comes out in other parts of the world. And thanks for waiting 10 years or whatever it was for the new Racer X, and I hope it rocks you.
Yeah, cool. Cheers, Paul. I've got a live video of Racer X actually when you supported King Cobra.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty wild actually. A friend from King Diamond sent me it.
That's awesome.
Is there any more videos kicking around of Racer X?
I've seen some, and they're all bootlegs, but the
any better quality than that one?
Probably the best one, and I just remember, some guy taking it, and I've never seen it in any bootleg store, so it probably isn't available. But there was one at the Troubadour that was really good. It was like one of the earlier shows, right. And it's too bad that one's not available, because that one was really cool. There's one from Jezebel that's pretty good quality.
Yeah, do you have that yourself?
I don't actually. I gotta get those.
Right. Okay, man. All right, Paul. I'll keep in touch via email for you and.
Awesome. I'm glad I could finally hook up with you on the phone.
Yeah, you can remember me, man, and if you ever need anything, you know how to get in touch.
Great.
Cheers, and Paul.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, man.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.